whenever you're ready, just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, kind of center yourself, just come into the moment. Put all the cares away. No thoughts about the future, no thoughts about the past, you're just here right now. If I don't love myself, yet this person says they love me, then there must be something wrong with him or her. How could a normal person love me or love someone like me when I can't even love me? See how that works? So if you don't love yourself, you set yourself up for that doubt myself, and if not, why not? What's in the way there? A lot of times what happens with that is people think that it's somehow selfish or I don't know, egotistical to love yourself. But if you think about it, I use an analogy of a car. A lot of people are caretakers, and they feel like, well, if I take time to take care of myself, I'm taking away from other people. But if you think about it like a car, okay, you've got this car and you're taking the kids everywhere that they need to go, soccer practice and going to the grocery store, going back and forth to school and all that stuff. Say the oil light comes on in the car. Okay, I've got to go check the oil, but I don't really have time to take care of the car right now. I've got to go take the kids around. How long do you think that's going to go before the car breaks down on the road? Same thing with yourself. If you don't take some time to take care of yourself, how can you really be effective in helping other people? And it's not really selfish to do that. It's actually more selfish to not take care of yourself than it is to give yourself what you need so that you can care for other people. One way to do that is what I call the 3 Ps. It's personal, pervasive, and permanent. You want to avoid statements that are personal, pervasive, and permanent. I'll give you an example of each one of those so you'll know what that is. What did I say first? Permanent? Personal. We'll start with personal. Personal statements. Okay, you're at work or wherever, and say you've got a friend named Bob. Bob's grumpy, he's really gruff, he cuts you off in the middle of sentences and everything, turns and stomps off. There's 2 ways you can look at that. One way is, well, Bob's just having a bad day. I don't know what his problem is, but I'm not going to let it get me down. That's not personal. Personal would be, well, Bob's really mad today. I must have done something to him. You can really tell when you're effective in the personal statements. You pull up to a red light. Well, that red light always catches me. It's out to get me. That's an example of personal statements gone wild. So when you're doing your positive affirmations, you want to avoid personal statements to that effect. Permanent statements, meaning that this is the way I always am, I'm never going to be able to change. For example, I failed in that last relationship, that's just the way I am. I'm never going to be able to change myself so that I'll have a successful relationship. I just stink at relationships. That's a permanent statement because it's saying this behavior is something that is never going to change about me. And what else have I got? We did personal?
Pervasive.
Pervasive, thanks. Pervasive means something that's true in one situation applies to all situations. For example, made a mistake at work. Well, that's just because I screw everything up. Everything I do turns to crap. That's an example of taking one thing that happened and transferring it to everything else in your life. That's a pervasive statement. And the idea there, when you're listing and taking your personal truths and turning them into positive statements, avoid those always and never. This goes right into what you're talking about. The seesaw is, you ever heard the saying, it takes 2 to tango? I'm going to talk a lot with my hands here, so I'm going to put this down for a minute. You see kids playing on the seesaw. One end goes up, the other one goes down. If one of the kids gets off the seesaw, the other one just flops and can't play anymore. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you're in a love relationship and one person loses that love and the other person, wow, can't be in that love relationship anymore because it takes 2 to do that. But by the same token, if you're in an argument and you're playing on that seesaw, one person gets off by not refusing to argue, then the other person can't play anymore. So what happens in that situation? The argument's over. Now, Did anything get resolved? Maybe, maybe not. But the point is that if it's getting so emotional up to that point that you're feeling that you're getting into that area where you're going to be giving up on a core issue or trying to compromise on a core issue, then it's time to get off the seesaw until it's time to cool down.